What is going on, y'all? Site Perspectives, giofvcks, and we're gonna talk about inconsistency. And the reason we're talking about this is because oftentimes, that's like one of the biggest complaints that people have is the fact that the people that they're talking to are not being consistent with them in their actions, in their words. There's a lot of inconsistency, a lot of cognitive dissonance, and that's essentially what cognitive dissonance is. Words are not matching actions. Actions are not matching words. There's an inconsistency between the two. So I said this before in one of the videos where I was basically paraphrasing what I had saw originally somebody retweet on Twitter, and then I thus retweeted it with a quote. And of course, I don't have it with me at the time, so I'm just going to paraphrase it again. They basically stated on Twitter, meet inconsistency with no availability. Inconsistency, no availability. And I think that is like a very, very, very good suggestion, good advice. Because a lot of times, like I've been saying in previous videos, we break our own hearts. I mean, this person has already shown you through their actions, through their words, through both. They don't feel the same way. They're inconsistent. They're unreliable. Okay? They're emotionally unavailable. There's a lot of gaslighting. Their actions don't match their words. Their words don't match their actions. And yet, you will see all of this going on and continue to pursue the person. And when things don't work out, which they're bound to not work out in many cases, it can be argued in most cases, they don't work out, and we're lost, we're upset, we're bitter, we're hurt, we're frustrated, we're sad, we're angry, our ego has been bruised. Self-esteem has been thrown into the toilet, the gutter, the shitter, if you will. And now you're one of those people. Potentially, let me put that word out there, potentially one of those people that's niggas ain't shit, bitches ain't shit, ain't no love out here. Everybody a fuck nigga, a fuck bitch, everybody this, everybody that. I get it. I've been there. I'm still there here and there. I'm still healing. That's why I make these videos. I like to be very open and transparent because of what I've been through, what I went through, what I've gone through, what I'm currently healing and working on, what I've already healed. This is why I do these videos. So let's spark up 3 minutes in. Damn, another solid blunt. Anyways, so Gorilla Glue, Mad Grass Collective. Anyways, so it's just like we play ourselves, and that's basically what I've learned through my journey. Looking back on what I went through with in 2018, what I went through in 2019, even though 2019 was nowhere near 2018 at all. 2017 wasn't even near 2018. 2018 by far was really bad. That was a bad experience for me. And that healing and learning and unlearning toxic behaviors, learning healthy behaviors and positive, healthy coping mechanisms, and working through my own trauma and toxicity. And I'm not perfect. I still have a long way to go. I'm in therapy to this day. I really feel like therapy is something that some of us may have to be in for the rest of our lives. Just like some people have to be on medications for the rest of their lives. Just like you need to work out and go to the gym and be physically active and do what you can to eat right and etc. A lot of this has to be incorporated into our daily lives and will be a lifetime journey. It never truly ends. So, I'm getting back to the gist of the video. I do these videos to be open and transparent. The signs are there, baby. The signs be there. And, you know, a lot of us see the signs. We have to stop ignoring shit because, you know, you see the inconsistency. You know, 1 minute they're texting you left and right, you know, and they're calling you and they're checking in on you and y'all are communicating. You're texting them left and right. They're following up with you. You're checking in on them. They're checking in on you. There's a consistent back and forth effort. Then all of a sudden, it just stops out the blue, and you don't quite know what's going on, why. They just fall off the place of the planet, or they fall off the face of the planet, and or you start noticing their behaviors change, their actions change, the way they communicate with you change, the way they interact with you, their whole behavior, everything changes. And then maybe you can say some of us are hyper-focused on these situations because some of us are hyper-focused on other people's moods, actions, words, behaviors. We like hyper-focus in on the climate, if you will, the mood, if you will. And I say this because a lot of times, those of us that grew up in toxic, abusive, dysfunctional, narcissistic, these are and ors, okay? And ors households grew up having to be very highly aware, very vigilant. Okay, very super focused on other people's behaviors because we literally had to judge the temperature of the room to know how we were going to interact with them. Okay, because we're trying to save. A lot of us, let's just be real, a lot of us grew up on survival. Okay? A lot of us grew up on survival. We grew up on survival and it shows. So back to the inconsistency, right? Well, actually, this kind of ties back into how you grew up. Again, some of us, like I said, humans tend to work in a pattern. It's a cycle of behaviors. It's almost like a broken tape record. You just keep doing the same thing over and over. You keep following the same behaviors, the same actions, the same mindsets. You're just basically reliving whatever trauma or past experiences, you keep reliving them. And that's why, when I say you can't change anybody, no, you really can't change anybody. It's hard to change yourself as an individual. So it's just kind of comical and just downright insane to think that you can change somebody else when it takes so much effort just to change yourself. So, and this is why mental health is so important. This is why we need access to universal health insurance so people can have access to affordable, accessible, and inclusive mental health care. Therapy and counseling is greatly needed and needs to be readily available and accessible to everyone. So, the inconsistency. So, growing up, a lot of us grew up with inconsistency, right? Like, especially those of us that are coming from parents who weren't there, deadbeats, if you will. And I'm even tiptoeing on deadbeats, right? Because as I'm healing and going through therapy, I'm also starting to view that as don't get me wrong. Yeah, they're deadbeats. You can be both, right? I just kind of feel like the nuance, and I'll do a video on that as soon. But the parents that were neglected and weren't there and couldn't be there for various reasons, okay? AKA the deadbeats, okay? Yeah, also known as, but there's very different reasons why they couldn't, or shouldn't have been there. Who knows, right? So when you grow up with that type of inconsistency, you know, 1 minute, in my case, 1 minute, again, personal, talking about my own self, 1 minute my mom would be there, and the next minute she would be gone for months, years, and be in a different city, different state, all over the place. And my grandparents would have custody of me because of that. And then my father was non-existent my entire, childhood. And so I was so, like, you get used to that inconsistency. And you start longing and chasing and begging and doing whatever it takes to keep them from leaving. See, a lot of that inconsistency also ties into abandonment issues, okay? So again, and I'm going to keep saying this, we are products of our environment. It is nature and nurture. I'm so tired of this versus shit. It's not nature versus it's not nature versus nurture. It's nature and nurture. We need both. We need nurture and nature. We need both. Because my thing is, like I said before, I grew up in what you would consider a black middle class family. So financially, we were always stable. So if you want to talk about, again, yeah, financially, our basic needs were met, then some. But emotionally, this was, and just even physically, it was a very toxic environment, And I can acknowledge that my family provided for me and also hurt me at the same time. So that's something that I'm trying to get people to also understand, the nuances, as people are saying, the nuance. Shout out to Delma. He's one of my mentors. Black Student Union, University, Michigan Flint, what's good? University of Michigan Ann Arbor, what's good? Go Blue, University of Michigan Dearborn, what's good? All the extension campuses, what's good? Go Blue. But anyways, and it just always is something to think about. So that setup, and then here you are, you're steady chasing after people that are showing you inconsistency, yet you're steady complaining, oh, there's nobody good out here, everybody's full of shit, all these niggas, all these bitches, everybody toxic, boom, 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 boom. Granted, all of us have toxicity. Nobody is going to be perfect. However, when you know that what you're doing is wrong and it's hurting other people, you need to check within. Sooner or later, you need to check within. Sooner or later, accountability needs to step in. But yet, we still chasing after people that's showing us inconsistencies. And you know why? Like I said, we work on a pattern of behavior. It's a cycle. So I'm in my mind, subconsciously, this is my, I'll put information in the, but in the description box, and you can check and do your own research. Look it up. Go on Google. But I'll have information below as well. Fact check me and look it up yourself too. Subconsciously, tucked way back, I'm still chasing after my mom. So a lot of times, this is why they talk about this, when you look at, and this is where that nurture part comes from, right? When you look at your relationship dynamics and how they play out, are they successful? Are they healthy? Are they functional? Are they dysfunctional? Are they toxic? How they play out whether it's with your friends, your family, your colleagues, your job, all your relationships with food, everything. Break it down, because it's really, really complex when you really break down how the human mind is. And you look at it and you start, and for me, through my therapy, through counseling, through my lived experiences, through my researching, through my failures, through everything. I sit back and I'm just like, I'm chasing my mom in all of these relationships in some form or fashion, subconsciously. Of course, I'm not attracted to my mom, you know what I mean? Because I know somebody's gonna be like, but when you go, there's always somebody that has to be on that. I get it, right? Because a lot of people wanted to downplay what Sigmund Freud said. But to a certain extent, some of what Sigmund Freud said has a lot of validity, a lot of value, a lot of truths. Not everything, because like I said, we've debunked a lot of what he said, but I'm not going to discredit everything that he said. So anyways, you look and you realize you're chasing after the parent, now talking about everybody. You're chasing after the parent that was neglectful, okay? Because that was your attachment. See, this is why it is so important that if you have children, you're there for your kids, okay? You need to be there for your kids. You might not be able to be there completely financially. You might not be able to be there completely physically. But damn, you need to try your hardest, your best foot forward to be there for your kids. Because these attachments, this shit starts off in the womb, out of the womb. The first 5 years are so critical. So critical. So critical. And that's why I sit back and I think, this having kids just to have kid shit, anyways. So back to the inconsistency. Once I get on this, I can talk and finally get stuff out for you guys. Back to the inconsistencies. It's just, again, you see the letdowns. You see that they're not, in your head, you're sitting there like, well, this hurts. I don't like this feeling. This is uncomfortable. This reminds me of something. You're getting an alert, and those alerts are red flags. Feel me? And you're just sitting there in your head, and that's another problem. Stop being passive aggressive. That's another thing that a lot of us suffer with. Narcissistic people, codependent people. Everybody, in my opinion, is kind of suffering with some of this. Some of us have way more than the other, right? Stop being passive aggressive. And what I mean by that is, you're probably thinking, but I'm not doing anything. I just stop letting shit build up. And then, expecting other people to mind read and know what you mean. Because a lot of times, the person doesn't even know that they're being inconsistent to you. And then the other times, the person just simply doesn't care and is going to do them anyways. But in both situations, if you're just going to be quiet in both situations, it doesn't matter. So what another part is, speak up and say, hey, what's going on? We were talking, we were hanging out. It's been like 2 weeks now. What's going on? I'm just checking in to see what's up with you. Do stuff like that. Or if you don't want to do that and you just write them off right then and there because this is just the beginning, then you do what you need to do. But figure out something so you can have some healthy boundaries so you're not sitting up constantly getting hurt. That's all I'm saying when it comes to inconsistencies. All right, I'm out.